Hello and welcome to the preview of Day 2 of the Championships, or Day 2 of the Australian Jockey Club's Autumn Racing Carnival. Mark Lambourne, Brent Zarafa. Hello there, all positive, it's all good, it's racing we're talking about.
I know, indeed, it is some card, isn't it? And I have managed to wade through this mammoth event. And obviously tomorrow we're going to be racing at Randwick on a similar situation that we struck last year, which was the rail goes out the 6, and on that occasion last year the track was soft, as it will be tomorrow, unfortunately, despite the hottest April day ever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I suppose we'll have a slightly different flavour tomorrow about the way the racing's conducted.
So what are you saying about the track? Obviously a lot been said about it last week. The times indicated that it was a little bit faster than what a lot of people were saying. There's a lot of debate, a lot of conjecture about it.
Look, it's more about position. I'm never approaching these cards like going, well, this is a soft tracker and this isn't. It's, you know, will this horse be in the right position on the track?
With the right intent.
Yeah,
Yes.
although, you know, obviously intent gets a bit murky when, you know, trainers start saying, I listened to Chris this morning going, well, preferment needs at 5, if it's 6 it's a worry, and if it's 7 it's no good, you know, so obviously there is a bit of focus from other corners.
Because I think there was a lot of what we saw last week, whether we're right, wrong or indifferent, a lot of it was come down to the human handling and the human focus on it. Anyway, alright.
Perhaps they've got bigger fields than we had at this meeting last year.
Yeah, well the 6 metre position, mate, normally we'll see them go into the just swing naturally into the lane. It's like that Rose Hill 3 metre position that they're 1 metre off the fence is where you want to be, which most horses are going to be. But with fields of this size, a lot of them are going to be off the cliff. And those outside, way out wide lanes are seriously in play, because they were almost in play last week from the road through.
Especially if there's going to be a bit of wear and tear from big fields last week, big fields late in the day. You might start to see them getting out a bit wider, and that's what's playing with my mind at the moment, because I automatically, like you've mentioned, rail 6 is sort of wanting that type of on-speed horse who's swinging around in front, maybe 1 or 2 off the fence, but in a forward position, completely different to last week. But now is
way out wide in play.
I'm
we've got
really confused.
We've got fields of 15, 15, 12, 14, 14, 16, 14, 14. I would say out of those, what was that, about 8 examples, one of those is going to at least see something right down the outside fence.
Like we're talking like Chautauqua sort of lane last week?
Yeah, Chautauqua was in that lane. Yeah, so he was the widest runner, and that was the lane. Yeah. But every lane out wider gets conversely faster as well too. So it could come into play. I think it's a bit of a suck it and see, isn't it?
Yeah, we had 2 fields of 15 last year, which weren't enough to get out there. But
bit of Nash. I know it was the other meeting, but Nash on that Jap horse in the.
Well, that was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
That was a 9 metre rail.
Yeah.
Looking at those results there, a lot of those were up and on. Amanpour, the Barrister, Criterion, Grant Marshall got up along the inside to beat. Who shot the Barman? Delectation burst through the middle. Avoid Lightning come right up the inside.
Avoid Lightning actually, no, remember that it was the last race and they decided to go forward on the Avoid Lightning.
Yeah, exactly. And so every one of those results was a forward type of win. It wasn't a Randwick rail true like we saw last week. The dynamic of this track will change completely on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. All right, and we're just saying, what, dead on the old, is that what we're
dead?
It's
dead. It's murky.
It's murky. It's chopped.
Yeah. And weather tomorrow? What is it?
Well, weather tomorrow is better than today. Today is the sort of, you know, a bit of rain.
Yeah.
Look, the highest probability of rainfall is right now.
Yep.
And we're sort of getting better from here on in.
Perfect. All right. Race 1, Fernhill Handicap. Only 8 runners. Prized Icon and Obscura are in the battle for favouritism in front of Reinforced. Mark.
Yeah, so we just get the value cut in half. I made mention of the fact that Obscura was rendering the value a bit of a shit race.
Yes, it was.
But I mean, that's all we've got to work with.
Yeah, I know. It did start 50s.
It was an amazing run.
Good run.
Huge. If you do the replays of that day, nothing made ground in that position, swinging and sort of 5 and 6 wide after being slow early and a slowly run race.
And what did you make of Taj Mahal's win, who, for the reason talking about that is they came from a similar position, which was both shit, and it went past it, and was putting probably what it put about a length and a half on the line, and for every extra metre would have been more.
Well, Taj Mahal went to a maiden midweek at Warwick Farm. Admittedly, after being slowly away, cut the corner and got through the field nicely, but still put that field away quite convincingly.
Yeah. So there's something around it.
Well, there's form, but it's a midweek maiden form. Is that good enough for this?
Yeah.
Generally is, I suppose.
There's not much to work with,
The
is
Barrister won it last year, and I can't remember.
Well,
I can't remember too many strong winners of the Fern.
Well,
they haven't stopped talking about that in the pubs, of
the Barrister.
Barrister. Yeah, you got.
But there was no value form in that race last year. Anyway, this presents well enough, but you've got the situation where Prized Icon should control the pace, and that there's a chance that Obscura with
the Mozzie
found
the Mozzie's got
me.
Oh mate, I tell you what, they bite well. The one I copped earlier in the week has only just gone down. And this one's only just come up from earlier in the week.
Breed of tough out here in Newtown.
I was going to say,
no one else.
Yeah. Oh, some of the Sheilas are pretty tough. If you went to war and it was boys versus girls, the girls would be your comprehensive favourite and win. Mark? All right, okay. Enough. So back to race one. Let's go. A lot of races.
So Prized Icon looks to get good control here, and I imagine that Obscura, a second start with the blinkers, would perhaps work forward from the wide gate.
Well, he's in play at least this week, isn't it?
Yeah. So sorry, he's a colt. Of course, he's a colt. Obviously, Reinforced started the shortest price in the value, and had some sort of excuse, and does come home for the first time. So I guess needs to be looked at. And the other horse was Crown Him, who was right in the finish, off a soft run in that race.
And Glenn's off for Hugh Bowman, Prized Icon, and the way they rode last week, Winks accepted. That's a negative.
That's a negative. Glenn off.
Glenn off for Hugh on. The way that he rode a lot of the races last week, I'm saying cross.
Yeah, I know, but Glenn.
And I am the #1 member of Hugh's fan club.
Yeah, I know. But that was Glenn. That was.
It's leaving me cold at the moment.
Glenn. Yeah. Okay. All right.
The way I'm looking at this race, my starting point when I initially did the form was Prized Icon had the favours being sort of in the position there in the value where the others were back and wide, and suggested stepping up in distance would be ideal. But then when you get to a 6 metre rail and there doesn't look much speed, does that probably negate it on Saturday? So I was looking for Obscura and Reinforced to be the improvers to get the better of Prized Icon this week, but I don't really have a lot of confidence in this race.
No, nor do I. I think honestly, you're sorting rubby.
It's a nice soft start to the card, isn't it?
Urine from feces. That's about where we're at.
Yeah, I didn't see much else that could really threaten here. I thought they were the obvious three, and I'd probably lean to maybe Reinforced, who was significantly hampered from basically the top of the straight to the winning post. It never really got able to build momentum. So maybe some points to it, but.
And for the stable, where one of my big things, obviously mentioned, I like the fifth run first sort of thing. That is against it, but with that stable, is one of the more ones you can forgive it with.
Go-to stable, isn't it?
A little bit, isn't it? Yeah. Well, that price hit third pick in the market seems a little bit more attractive than Obscura, who's 50th last start in, or even on the run. Anyway, you've got no real.
I'm with #1 simply because I think that it puts itself in the race and controls the race, and the others have to come and get him.
Okay, race 2 is the McGrath South Pacific Classic over 1400 metres.
Wow.
Do your best.
Wow.
Not even saying he's in the market. They're all in. They're sort of all there.
It's another race with a bodgy lead up because it's offering a provincial race. Admittedly, the Gosford Guineas, but it's offering that as a lead up, which doesn't work for Randwick.
No.
What about the 1100 race? The
Derby Munro you're talking about? The Derby Munro 1200 race.
Sorry.
That's in there. You've got that, and you've got the Gosford one, which both of them sort of don't look like they work either.
No. So we've got a big field at 1400 metres, and plenty to be forward. I had Not a Cherry, who's stepping right up from 1,000 metres, going forward wide out. Dark Steel poking up underneath them. Handfast, Suspense, Serene Majesty, Marwahib and Dane Thunder looking for positions on the pace. I would actually like to see King's Troop used up to lead here. And,
well, you'd think up in distance of 1400 they mightn't be able to restrain him.
They've got to do something, don't they?
Well, he just sat on a limb, sort of just off the speed at Gosford. I can foresee it sort of trying it out tomorrow.
He's led 1,000-metre races, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're going to.
So, would you see sort of generous early pace? It's a sufficient pace anyway.
Well, it's a large field.
Just like last week, how they just wanted to get up and get going. But at least with the rail this time, there might be a bit more urgency.
Is it because the track is wet?
Well,
is that why they're doing it?
I don't know, Brent, you're close to the riders, but it really did look a case of that they were jumping like they were on wet tracks and holding their heads together last week.
But that's what every jockey that came back to scale after virtually right throughout the day just kept saying, this track is a lot wetter than it's wet underneath it. It's wet, like they're sticky. They're needing to be wet track horses to handle it. Which
then Happy Clapper runs second in the Doncaster.
Yeah, but he'd only been once
a world class run.
Yeah,
but he'd only been once on a heavy track, so it could have been inconclusive.
Oh no, I
don't think he's better on the dry track.
But then also too for the first half of the round for the Doncaster, they've run 10 lengths above average raw. You know, so you can't do that on affected tracks. Long grass. I think long grass may be the head fucking thing about this nature because the grass is long there now.
But
anyway.
Okay, but the point that you're making is that they just looked to amble around.
They did.
The times
that was the intent. The intent wasn't there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What do you say? The times?
Well, I was thinking, obviously the Doncaster looked really quickly run.
Yep.
And the TJ Smith solidly run.
Yeah.
And that made all the other ones look really slowly run. But I've had plenty of people suggest to me that all the other races were averagely run, and the others were very quickly run.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. All right. Anyway, let's find the winner of the race. Any opinion race too? We're going to move through.
I'm leaning towards Tulsa here.
Okay. I've had a couple of looks at it.
I just thought its run in the Rand McGuinness just seemed to come back into the inside, which was in the slow lane, and blinkers go on back to 1,400 metres. Its runs at 1,400 in the past sort of 6 months have been good, going back to its Guineas Prelude run, which was fantastic, its CS Hayes Stakes run, which was fantastic, and they'd been in set weights races. Now it gets a little bit of weight relief off a few horses who don't really seem to have much stronger form than it, and it was $15 each way. So blinkers on, had a bit of a quiet trial since its last run in a race that I found quite difficult. I was pointing towards it.
Good angle.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that at all. The only horse that I was genuinely impressed by in my run through the race was Dark Steel, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's like I'm talking about a provincial race in Newcastle. And he's a niggardly price, like a shitty price, given his credentials.
He was going to save the world at one stage, wasn't it?
And I was surprised that Suspense was double figures, given that he's unbeaten. I mean, I know he's...
But what's he beaten?
Well,
he's beaten nothing, I know.
And even
it looks real midweek, rock solid shit midweek form, doesn't it?
The raps coming out of the stable are pretty... This Mozzie's getting...
No, I don't think it's an individual.
I'm going to wear a beehive thing.
I don't think you can just accuse one Mozzie here. They have come to life. But the Autumn Carnival's alive at Newtown.
I've sort of not been negative to Suspense, but I just thought every time he stepped up, I thought, I don't know if he can go to that next level, but he just keeps doing the job. Is he...
How could you like it, Mark? It's a horse that's run one's first 4 stars.
Yeah,
How could you possibly like it?
No, it's not for me, Dale. That's why I said to you, the only horse that I was giving some sort of recommendation to was Dark Steel.
But what about Sonic Swish? I thought its last start was quite good against the older horses.
Definitely
the older horses.
Definitely popular in the popular in the betting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. It was a bit of an off-season race in my opinion. Look, Tulsa I recommend, and Marwahib looks to be bodging around down in Melbourne, but what I saw of him in Sydney was really good. So they were the two I was looking at.
Should say with Melbourne, there's a lot of Melbourne form coming through. If Aaron's doing his job properly and hasn't fallen asleep, he's going to speak to Darren Potter throughout the day and get a bit of a handle on where Darren rates these form lines that are coming through. And
obviously you want to be referring back to your race breed profiles, IVR reports as well.
Yep, absolutely. If you've got them, that'd be great. But anyway, Tulsa, I think, is a betting play. Yeah, I think that's made a very good point, Brett. Lovely. Tournament. We're halfway through the $250,000 tournament.
God.
Sean Burns in front. Glenn's done his video. You got to watch Glenn. How?
Glenn Gould.
Blood take. It's just
It's amazing, isn't it? He's taken to this new. How would he describe it? His new, I suppose, editorial control. He's certainly adding a lot of spice to his driving Miss Macy.
Yeah, he's avoided the arm hold-up charge.
I just don't know how old's Glenn? 50?
50. Well, 55 is what he's tapping out.
What I find great is that you can just say to Glenn, go out with Aaron.
Yeah.
Take a camera and just come up with something, and they're coming up with some stuff that's actually quite interesting. Most blokes his age would say, get fucked up.
Yeah, exactly right. But you were referring to most people. There is only one, G. Pollock. No. Anyway, it's all about the tournament. Glenn's in the tournament. I think he's already had a few rebuys and he's there. Where you're at, well, you can't re-enter it now. I think there's, 2 rebuys left. If you're in the tournament, have your money ready to rebuy, because the people that are what's the leading about 120. 120.
Yeah. It's not far.
Basically, I think what it means is the people that are there in that position have gone from being a 40 to 1 chance to a 20 to 1 chance. You'd see these tournaments. You go back to the Gold Coast one where old mate Tip found every winner, had a clean sheet, was a few $100,000 up going to the last and got fucking beat, and even found a collect in the last.
10 to 1 winner of the last.
Got beat. So
that's a great story, isn't it?
So like everybody's now reloaded. You've got 165 people in there on 10,000. No, all they are is in a decent position after, say, the first or the second under a normal tournament thing. You're well in it. You're back. If you're on 10,000, you're back in the last group in a very bunched field. That's what I'm saying. The winning prize is going to be 5. But people play conservative last week over the 2 weeks. You're going to... Jesus, we're going here. Matthew Taylor. Matt Taylor, we're off.
The chair's gone.
The Matthew Taylor Memorial chairs. Matt, your chairs are gone.
It's actually all right now. We'll be able to fix this one.
We'll be able to fix that one, all right. All right, we're off. Anyway, be ready to rebuy. Because you're a chance.
Let's go and get the other.
All right. We'll come back with rebuy in the tournament. Race 3 coming up next.